Welcome to the Stress-Free Dentist podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block. As always, I want to inspire, entertain, and educate you on the best tools and technologies out there. My goal is to help make your practice and career more profitable, efficient, and most importantly, more enjoyable. And check out all of my nonfiction and children's books on Amazon, and check out the stressfreedentist.com for any upcoming events. And if you're feeling you're a dental professional that's burnt out, or you just feel stuck or want to get to that next level, visit the International Academy of Dental Life Coaches, or www.iadlc.com, and we'll get you matched up with a life coach that understands dentistry. I also wanted to thank our amazing sponsor, Equa Marketing. They have helped me and my practice over the years to improve with SEO and website performance. And to find out how you can make your practice dominate in your area, go to www.equa.com/MSMSFD to book your complimentary meeting. Again, that's www.ekwa.com/MSMSFD. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. And today I am joined by Dr. Uche Odiatu. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good. It's a great start to a week. I love sharing, so I can't wait to get on this.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And I know you have so much to offer. And I just wanted to first find out, how you even got involved with dentistry. How did you choose to become a dentist?
Well, like I think many dentists we're multi-skilled and multi-talented people. I know dentists have this thing called, I call it an abacus mind. They're writers, they're artists, they're business people, they're scientists. All these things come together. And at some point you got to make a choice. And I think I remember hearing a career coach say at some point you got to ride the horse in the direction that is going. So it wasn't until about age 20, and believe it or not, I was in the gym. So here I am working out at the University of Manitoba, working out, doing biceps or triceps. And some guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey," he goes, "what faculty are you in? Physical education?" I said, No. I said, "I'm in science." He goes, "What's your major?" I said, "I'm majoring psychology, minoring chemistry." And he goes, "You ever thought about the health science?" I said, "Yeah, it's been on my mind." He goes, "How about dentistry?" And I said, "Why dentistry?" And he goes, "I'm in first year." He goes, "With your discipline and if you're in science," he said, "you might want to give that a try." And I said, "Well, it came out of nowhere. I'm between sets of curls." But anyway, he planted a seed. Like many times, life plants a seed in you. And who knows why this guy came up to me. Anyway, 2 days later, I see this guy again. He goes, "Hey, you guys want any information on how to get in?" I said, "Like what?" He goes, "Well, there's an entrance course, a class or a test. You got to get some certain credits together." So anyway, after a few discussions over, several weeks, I applied and got in my first try. And 4 years later, the rest is history. I continued working out through the whole time, competing in weight training and bodybuilding. And I love that part of it because it really helped me have energy to study until midnight. And I've definitely woven fitness and health through every aspect of my practice life. And it's been, almost 30 years now, but I'm loving it still.
I was just jotting some things down. So I graduated as a psychology major from Tulane University, and I missed my mouth on a beer bottle and broke my front tooth. And I ended up going to a local dentist, and they patched me up, and that's kind of how I fell in love with dentistry. So it's you were crushing some weights at the gym, and mine was a beer bottle, but we both ended up in the same in the same profession with psychology majors. Um, Now, how did you first get extremely involved in your path to fitness?
My mom and dad, like they're a great source of inspiration to me. Both of them really shy, my mom was super shy lady, but back in the 60s, she was reading Norman Vincent Peale and Prevention Magazine and Reader's Digest and cutting out nutrition information. And she would tell us to have brown sugar. Brown sugar is better than white sugar in our cereal. And now we know, brown sugar, in 2024, we know that brown sugar is just white sugar with a dye job. But back in the 60s, it was very cool to have brown sugar. And she had shredded wheat corn, shredded wheat for cereal. And she kept saying, eat your fish, it's good for your brain. And I think a lot of parents tell kids what to do. They don't tell them why. But my mom was a really good reframer. And she said, eat this because you want to be strong. Eat that because it's going to be good for your brain. And my dad, he wasn't Greek. He was Nigerian. But he would often say, you've studied enough, go outside and play. And so he actually tag teamed sound body with a sound mind. And I think between the two was a perfect storm to unite both these cultures. And here I am now. They were both really shy people, great on one-on-one, but in front of a room, like a deer in the headlights. But I often find myself, on stage in front of, 200 or even 2,000 people a couple of years ago in Denver. I'm never alone. I say I'm on the shoulders of these two cool people. And this is where it all started, cod liver oil and eat your vegetables. Now get outside and play. And that's how it all started.
Now, I read something that you wrote. Your patients' inflammatory lifestyle habits are sabotaging your treatment results. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, I just did a program recently. It's called The Secret Lives of Your Patients. And a lot of dentists, we so focus on the root canal, the MB2, the crown margin, scanning it into your 3D scanner. You lose the fact that you're working on someone who does shift work. You're working on someone who's obese. You're working on someone who's not having a good relationship with their significant other. You're working on someone that sleeps the Burmese mountain dog on their bed. You're working on someone that has been pulled financially with their second restaurant opening. And all these things create a background level of inflammation in a patient's body, which basically sabotages the most well-intentioned Pankey or Spears graduate. Because if you don't take into consideration how inflamed our patients are, you'll pull out your hair thinking, how come my implant's not integrating? Or how come my beautiful margins, which have no little ting, have some inflammation on them? Well, the patients are inflamed. And I think anywhere from 50% to 90% of North American adults are inflamed because they're not eating the foods that they need for their body to make anti-inflammatory agents. They're not sleeping deep enough to heal each night. They're not moving enough to pump out, fibro growth factor 2 and valostatin. What happens is it's a soup of inflammation. And then, so my mantra is look at patients from head to toe. And they're starving for healthcare providers to look at all of them. So many of us are experts in the brain, experts in the endocrine system, experts in the gingival margin. But who's putting it all together? Well, I'm sharing and I'm championing from the podium. Putting it all together means you have a well-rounded healthcare provider as a dentist or hygienist, and the whole team is focused on whole body health. Doesn't mean you're weighing patients at the reception, which is not a bad idea because 7 out of 10 patients are overweight, which means they also have higher levels of C-reactive protein. So you don't have to go that far. But I'm saying introduce wellness conversations chairside and show the patient that you are all about head to toe health. And that total patient health perspective is so attractive. People are starving for it. And you can actually then refer out to other people on your team, other people in your community, and be that quarterback, be that Tom Brady, be that Patrick Mahomes, combining the whole thing to truly get people healthy, and not just have, some bright white teeth in a soup of inflammation. Sorry, there's a bit of it sounded like Billy Graham there from the pulpit, but this is my
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. That could be such a practice builder too, where, like you said, you're the quarterback and you're reaching out to the local nutritionist or the local gym, the local sleep doctors. That's such a great way to get involved with the rest of the medical community. Do you think, let's start with eating right. Our patients, they're coming in, they're probably, possibly overweight. What is the role of eating and junk food? How do those habits show up in their mouth?
Yeah, everything we are, Eric, is what we're eating. Sure, breath takes part of it. We breathe 20,000 times a day, but really, food is what changes and creates the building blocks that makes our collagen, which makes our bones, which makes our teeth, which makes our skin, which makes our brain. And if people are eating junk, and 95% of food eaten outside the home in North America is junk food. 95% of food eaten outside the home is junk food. Few people are going to Michelin star restaurants. Few people are eating grass-fed beef and antibiotic-free raised animals. So, they're eating a lot of, convenience, shelf-stable, appetizing food, but many times they think they're 3 squares a day or healthy. Meanwhile, I tell people, go in front of a full-length mirror alone, take off your clothes, and this is exactly what your diet has created for you. It's very in your face, Jerry Springer look, but if you take off your clothes and look at a full-length mirror, you'll think, wow, this is where my eating habits are. Like, this is where you realize, you are the living evolution of what your diet is. So, form follows function. So if we're meant to be smart dentists, cut crowns, lead a team, dictate, treatment chairside, how are we able to do that if we're eating a carb-laden meal of, insulin spiking food? that brain fog, that lack of ability to go left, right brain and cross the corpus callosum is sabotaged with a poor diet. And people wonder why, even at the end of a hardcore day, dentists have done 7 crowns, they've done, comprehensive work, they're on the way home, and all they're thinking is, can't wait to have that scotch, can't wait to sit down and chill for 6 hours of Netflix. Meanwhile, your family gets leftovers of your energy. And I believe you need to end the day as strong as you start the day. And that can only happen if you're eating the food that supports a high performance person. Why does only Tom Brady and LeBron James eat healthy? Why aren't healthcare providers thinking of themselves like high performance Formula One race cars? Premium fuel, premium pit stops instead of just convenient. Oh, what do I feel like eating? Who cares what you feel like eating? I'm saying, what's going to serve you have the most productive day? What's going to serve the next interview to find a new manager? And that's only by what we're eating. We are what we eat. And Hippocrates said a long time ago, if you're not feeling well, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. So I really think food is probably one of the top 4 things that allows people to really enjoy an elegant practice life.
How do you have that conversation with a patient? It can be a delicate thing where
Mm.
you don't want to say it the wrong way. You don't want to insult them, make them feel bad. What's the best way to kind of talk to a patient about, what they're eating and kind of trying to live a healthier lifestyle?
Yeah, great question. It is. Friends always ask me, how do you talk about body fat in front of 1,000 people and not offend people? Well, I've also heard, I think George Bernard Shaw said, if you haven't offended someone by noon, you're not living your true passion. So, but that being said, though, I am very delicate with my patients. Sometimes, I remember Bill Dorfman saying, the cosmetic practice, he's still practicing in Century City, inventor of Discus Dental. Said everyone thinks every one of his patients is Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, and Hollywood elite. But he said, that's only 5% of my patients. He goes, 95% of my patients just want bread and butter dentistry. So I'd say 95% of the people I see just want regular dentistry. It's only 5% that really demand all of my skill set. So I don't get offended. I always say you have to invite me into the conversation. So if someone says, I'm a little tired, doc, you don't mind if I shut my eyes? And I said, hey, it's 10 o'clock. What do you mean? He goes, well, now that I've reached 40. And I said, hey, I've blown past 40. He goes, well, I only have 2 kids. I said, I got 4 kids. And so they start saying, Dr. Odiatu, can I ask you a question? What do you eat to look this chipper at 11 o'clock in the morning? Now they've invited me in and I can share. Or Dr. Odiatu, can I ask you a question? I've been coming here for 20 years. How can you look the same age you did when I first came? Because I do 4 things. I said, I sleep a certain way, eat a certain way, breathe a certain way, and move a certain way. Interesting. What are those? Oh, you know what? I can't sum it up right now. I said, I'm just going to take an impression. But what I am going to do, though, I'm going to show you on my phone a couple of books I read in this area. And you see now it's all a very gentle conversation. I introduced it. They kept it going. It's gone back and forth. No one feels judged. I'm working at the level they are. And I honestly leave those conversations, those treatments feeling, oh my God, like that crown seated well. But man, that person's on a new path. They're going to buy an eye mask, or they're going to download that book, Why We Sleep, or they're going to start hiring a certified trainer, or they're going to try adding an avocado to the diet to boost their fiber. Now I feel, wow, dentally and physically, I've touched a spark. And that's very fulfilling to go from room to room, moving people emotionally to take better care of their bodies as well as their mouth, because they're connected. Hygienists know that the mouth and body's connected. We've disconnected them medically, but they're truly connected. And I really believe by reestablishing that connection with patients, that dentists do know nutrition. We take 20 to 30 hours of nutrition in our college training. Hygienists do 30 hours in their college training. It's well within a scope of practice to talk nutrition, and dentists often feel in our paralysis by analysis minds that we have to get a master's degree in vitamins and minerals before we start talking. Hey, the average adult doesn't even know the difference between calcium and vitamin C. So we can introduce our college-based learning with some post-grad courses or sitting in one of my sessions, and they can start having that conversation with more confidence and not alienating that patient, and really making them think, hey, I didn't know my dentist was such a holistic dentist, because I firmly believe most patients have a whole list of problems.
Yeah, I do the same thing for sleep. We just really started focusing in on sleep and airway this past year, and I think it's the now and the future of my practice. And I just ask questions, hey, do you feel refreshed in the morning? Just try to create that conversation. Sometimes patients say no and it's immediate rejection. Other times they say yes, and it just kind of continues that conversation. But I learned nothing about sleep apnea in dental school, and I've started to learn more. Um, and it's extremely rewarding when I treat a patient for sleep. But I also recommend dentists and the hygienists and anyone in the staff and your family to take a home sleep study too. What are your thoughts on providing sleep apnea and sleep and airway for patients?
Oh, Eric, you're totally on the right track. Like your practice is gonna boom. You know what I'm thinking now. Sleep is so foundational. People often talk about, oh, what kind of magnesium do I need to take, or what's the best, split chest and triceps and deltoids. I'm like, don't worry about the food and the exercise. Really, how you breathe and how you sleep is foundational. And the Canadian Obesity Network 10 years ago said for the 30% of Canadians who are obese with a BMI over 30, we need to focus on getting them to sleep better and managing stress. They said sleep and stress management is more important than diet and exercise to get people lean and healthy again. So that being said, dentists who are qualified to talk airway, because we're all about the gateway. We look at the nose, we look at breathing. We see patients falling asleep during a root canal. We see them falling asleep during their scaling. That's a hint that at 10 o'clock, an adult should not be tired. And that introduces you to the subject of sleep, as you elegantly do. But there's no reason why we can't take the postgrad courses. There's lots of courses. Obviously, there's certain sleep studies you can do take home. I like the full-on sleep study that your medical doctor prescribes. Only the medical doctor could prescribe a full-on sleep study, but I know there's many kinds. You might do the take-home one in addition. But to really get tested and find out where you are, I really like. It's almost like a report card for the body. How you sleep tells me how good your brain is. If someone says they snore, I know that person has dull thoughts. If someone says they wake up not tired, I'm thinking they're undergoing accelerated aging. If someone says they wake up throughout the night and go to the bathroom 5 times a night, I'm thinking of prostate issues, nocturia. I'm thinking low testosterone. I'm thinking sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting. If someone says, I don't sleep well, I'm thinking they might have problems with their blood sugar, because that nightly reset makes you more insulin sensitive. So sleep is so all encompassing. It's so foundational. It's impossible to be healthy and be a poor sleeper. So your practice is right on target. Like you have those conversations already, and that's where your practice is heading. But I think most dentists, keep trying to do crowns. Ask a dentist, how was your day? Oh, I did 4 crowns. Well, who did you help? How did you help them be healthier? And that's that whole idea of head to toe dentistry, that total patient health perspective, which I think if we move towards, dentists, we make people healthy, or we make people smile. That's nice, but we make people healthy. We make people healthy. And that's a great mantra for us to champion in day out.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James. As dentists and hygienists, we're high performers too. We've got to be on our A game from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's exhausting going from room to room to room and, giving these patients this great patient experience and then connecting with them. And we gotta eat right, we gotta sleep right, we gotta be on our A game or else, let's face it, no one wants a sad, tired dentist working on them. That's not gonna be a successful day. But so just for our own sake, we need to be healthier. Now, one of the biggest game changers for me and my overall pain or lack of pain is that I no longer sit. I actually removed all of the operatory chairs from my operatories, and in my back office I stand, and that has been like a total game changer for me.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on sitting versus standing?
Yeah, no, I love that idea. It's we sit all the time. Back in the caveman, cavewoman day, there actually is a book called Sapiens by Harari, New York Times bestseller. And it's you and I, our physiology is more like a caveman and cavewoman from prehistoric time. We spend hundreds of thousands of years as cavemen and cavewomen, eating 100 grams of fiber a day, walking anywhere from 8 to 15 miles a day. We ran, we walked. We ran, we walked. Cavemen didn't jog. That's so 1990s to jog. Cavemen didn't jog. They sprinted when they're after an animal, or when they're running from a predator, or they walked to preserve their energy. They only sat when they were sick and dying. Sick and dying. Caveman only sat. So because nowadays we sit 90% of the time. Average adult sits 90% of their day, and we don't walk anywhere near. I think the average North American, it's 1,800 steps a day. So that 10,000 step recommendation is way too much. It's like saying everyone should be able to do handstand push-ups. I go for 5,000 steps approximately. I really want to have the energy to stand and deliver. I want to be able to do weight training. I want to do cardio. I want to do flexibility training. And that triad of weight training, aerobic training and flexibility gives you a complete workout. But standing definitely gives you that NEAT. It's called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. And that was coined by a Mayo Clinic researcher, David Levine. And he talked about the value of standing more often. And actually, it burns up an extra 200 to 300 calories a day, that fidget factor of standing. And believe it or not, when you're standing, it takes less energy to stand than to sit. Because when you sit, right, you have that C-shaped spine, your neck is forward, your mouth breathing, which exhausts these muscles here. People often will have stiff, tired necks at the end of the day. Their scalene muscles, the sternocleidomastoid muscles, the rhomboids, because the body is trying to effort blood flow and oxygen to the brain. But when you stand and you have that lordosis, kyphosis, like lordosis in your cervical spine, what happens is there's a pumping action. And that pumping action gives your brain more oxygen. And that brain of ours is an oxygen hog, At only 3 pounds, it takes 25% of the incoming oxygen. So at the same time, though, it gives off a ton of exhaust and free radicals. And only by standing can you really take in oxygen well, efficiently, and let go of it well. So you don't have this buildup of reactive oxygen species and free radicals causing beta amyloid plaque and supporting the ongoing chronic inflammation in the brain, which is the foundation of Alzheimer's, vascular Lewy body disease, and Parkinson's, which this is actually from Dr. David Perlmutter, a psychiatrist. So basically, that's a lifetime of brain on fire is describing the brain of someone with dementia. So standing like you are is dousing the flames of dementia every day. And dementia is not something that people get at 70. That beta amyloid plaque, that exhaust that builds up in the brain, starts happening at age 20 with our sitting lifestyle on our iPads and those kids on their iPhones. That's when the exhaust builds up. It just builds to a critical mass in the late 60s, early 70s. Then, mom's forgetting a lot, or grandpa's not as sharp as he used to be. Well, it was a slow buildup, and now the straw that broke the camel's back is a challenge with financial, or a stress with the relationship. And now you have, hey, dad's staring off into space. What's going on? I guess he gets dementia. No, it's been 50 years of low-level stress, and now he had a pivotal moment in his life, and now he's gone. Like, look at the Wendy Williams thing going on right now. Very stressful life, really flamboyant person, but marriage ending, financial challenges, and all of a sudden now she didn't get dementia overnight. That was a slow buildup with the stresses of a very busy, inflamed lifestyle. And now the diagnosis happens where you get cognitive decline. Because, how did it happen overnight? Well, it was a slow buildup, then a pivotal moment, and now we have this full-blown cognitive decline. Well, this is where we're all heading if we don't take care of ourselves early on, if we don't encourage movement and standing more often. Hey, kids, stand up. And when do you ever see a kid standing up with an iPad? They're always sitting down with that C-shaped spine. So I love your lead the way philosophy with that standing. You are the Tony Horton of New England.
Yeah, and it's just helped me reduce pain too. I'm in my back office and I'm doing sun salutations, and my staff comes back there, and they're so used to it, it's not even weird anymore. I have a full conversation with someone in like tree pose, but it's really helped me with my pain. And all right, so let's wrap up with 2 final questions. Number 1 is, how do we find out more about what you're up to, where you're speaking? And then the final question is, what advice would you give to the young dental professionals out there?
Okay. Let me start off young dental professionals. Like I still feel like one. It's funny. I've been doing this for more than a quarter of a century, but I move like a 20-year-old. The flat stomach of a 20-year-old. I can do 20 pull-ups, which is unheard of. We had a 19-year-old kid come into our office and asked me what's it like to be a dentist. And I said, how many chin-ups can you do? And he jumped up and did 7. He's 19. And I said, hey, at 19, a man is the strongest he'll ever be. I said, your testosterone is a downhill slide. He goes, well, how many can you do? I said, well, another dentist came over, pumped out 10. I said, this guy's half a century old. And he goes, how many can you do? I pumped out 20. And he goes, sir, you've blown my mind. My dad's 47, and there's no way he could do this. He goes, are all dentists this strong? And I said, hey, in our office, maybe. But that being said, I like to share with the new dentist that don't sacrifice your health for your career, because it's very seductive, this crown prepping 6-figure income. But at 45, you're going to spend a whole lot of money to get back your health. Sciatica and reflux and high cholesterol and lack of brain clarity. So I'd say invest in your health early and start early, right in dental school if you can. I'm going to be speaking at the New Dentist conference in Ontario I'm based out of Toronto, but some of the New Dentist Conference in Ontario is a 2-day program in October this year. And they've asked me to do an hour session on maintaining energy for productivity. Because when you go to a dental conference, almost every session is on clinical communication management, clinical communication management. And the only thing that you can do your clinical work with is your body. The only thing you can talk with is your body. The only thing you can manage is your body. No one talks about the body. It's usually out of 200 sessions, they have one, token movement class, 6 o'clock in the morning, which 10 people attend out of a conference of 20,000 people. I'm saying nutrition, not just ergonomic, but movement classes, and maintaining your brain clarity and mental clarity is important to have at a conference. And, end this thing that, oh, it's all about the crowns. Hey, it's all about the body. So I'm really emphasizing for the new dentist, taking care of your body is important so you can enjoy the last half of your life when you retire and move on to other things. How can people get a hold of me? If you just Google Uche, U-C-H-E, dentist and fitness, you'll find me. Like, I don't think people have a hard time finding me. You just put Uche, fitness, dentist, and that's the only guy here. There's 200,000 dentists or 250,000 dentists in North America. If you put Uche, fitness, dentist, and you add the word Toronto, you'll find a phone number, you'll find a website, you'll find an Instagram account. And I take calls. I get direct messages. I get people direct messaging me from Whole Foods in Seattle saying, Dr. Odiatu, I'm a periodontist. I'm in the Whole Foods. What's healthier? Green apples or red apples? And I never judge people. I said they're both the same. There's 100 species of apples. Make sure you have variety. The human microbiome loves variety. So you eat them all, Dr. Perio. And so email, phone, direct message. I am here to serve my colleague, and I will do it till the end of my life.
Oh, that's great, man. Such a great episode. Dr. Uche, thank you so much for joining us. So many great nuggets, and hope to be in touch with you.
And my pleasure. Have a great, healthy day.
Thanks again for listening to the Stress-Free Dentist podcast. And don't hesitate to get in touch with me at info@thestressfreedentist.com. And if you haven't already, please subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Until the next episode, I'm Dr. Eric Block, the Stress-Free Dentist.